Good morning, guys. Let's chat, let's do our makeup together. I'm going to be pairing probably 3 McGrath palettes today, and we're going for like a teal blue kind of look. I really don't know, we shall see. First things first, I'm going to apply my eyeshadow primer. So, how have you been? I haven't been very active here on YouTube the last 2 weeks or so. It's not that I haven't wanted to, I've actually really missed filming and talking to you guys. But last week in particular was so crazy at work that I could just continue working 24/7 and I would still not be done. So it was really crazy last week. This week has slowed down a little bit, and mostly because tomorrow is a free day here. It's Ascension Day, and we get a free day. A lot of people take the Friday off as well. Crazy me, not of course. I have to go back to the lab because I have something that I need to finish there. I'm going to do my eyebrows now using my trusty L'Oreal Brow Artist Plumper. I don't do anything really fancy to my brows. I just kind of like comb them up, and that's about all that I do. I don't know whether you can see, but I have a bunch of like brown spots here on my forehead because I just dyed my hair. It was in dire need of being refreshed a little bit, and usually I just grab like a little cotton pad and I clean off the my forehead where I see that there is a lot of buildup of the dye, but today I forgot to do that, and now I sincerely, dearly regret it because I'm full of these spots that I couldn't really take off. They will come off with like 1 or 2 more showers. I'm grabbing my Glow Lost by Auric as per usual. But for now, I look like this, and hopefully we can cover that up a little bit with foundation. I don't think we're going to be able to completely cover it up, at least not in real life. I think maybe on camera it's not looking as bad, but in real life it's looking pretty bad, and I don't think I'm going to be able to cover that up. So, in other news, I was reminded of it while I was applying my Glow Lust. Coming Saturday, I want to say Saturday, it's May 15th, Lisa Eldridge is going to be releasing her new collection of complexion products. She's finally coming out with complexion products, which is awesome. I'm going to grab my Clarins Instant Concealer now. And at first I wasn't overly excited about Lisa's release, not because I don't love Lisa and I don't love her products, but because since Brexit she kind of stopped shipping towards the EU because of, you know, the additional customs, and the website basically said as soon as I figure it out, it will be back. But the last few times that I had checked, it had not been changed. So when she announced the collection, I was like, oh yeah, whatever. I can't get my hands on it, so I'm not really going to get excited for it. However, for all of you, dear friends, people who are in the EU and were as disappointed as me that Lisa doesn't ship to us, rejoice. For as of the day of the release, or maybe a little bit prior, I'm not sure, she said it will be on time for the release. She is going to be shipping to Europe again. So yay, we at least stand a chance. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, I am not planning on like stalking the website and fighting people over her products, because that's usually a little bit how her new releases go. I'm going to grab my Estee Lauder Double Wear Nude foundation now. She's releasing, I think, 6 like cream blushes, liquid blushes, I don't know, something that comes in a squeezy tube and it's a blush, and I am sure that the formula will be phenomenal, and I'm going to try to get my hands on at least one color. And I'm saying at least because with the upcoming blush release from Pat as well, I just feel like we are overdoing the blushes, and I'm basically buying blushes now because my favorite brands are releasing them and not because I really need blushes. But I just really want to try Lisa's formula because I'm sure it will be so good. I don't feel like it's doing anything, you guys. How can I be so dumb? Oh my god, I strayed so hard from where I was going before with the Glow Lust and Lisa Eldridge that I totally forgot to mention the other product that she's releasing, which is liquid highlighters. And from what I understand, they're probably going to be something similar to the Glow Lust, but without the coverage that the Glow Lust has. And I told you guys that I've been considering getting myself a backup of the Glow Lust because I love it so much. By the way, now I'm going to be using something that is new to my collection. Everyone on the internet and their grandmother has been raving about these Dior face and body powder, no powder, and I was like, I need to get me some. I think I got a little bit too cheeky when I hit pan on my Hourglass Moonlight powder, so I was like, you know what, I can afford another powder in my collection. No, I couldn't. That Hourglass powder is still probably going to last me another year. But I'm actually really enjoying this powder. It's really a no powder. Look, when I put my brush into it, there's absolutely no powder kick up. This is like that kind of like gelée formula, which has a little bit of a glow when you put it on the skin, but it's actually not even a glow, it just looks like your skin. It's a really beautiful finish. The only thing is, this is the shade 2N, and I have also the foundation, the Face and Body Foundation from Dior in the shade 2N, and it's just a tad darker than my skin. It's not too bad, like you can't really tell, but I feel like there is like a slight difference between here and here, also because I'm a little bit more olive here, but okay, whatever. So other than that, the powder is really beautiful. It just has the most natural finish to it. It's not like a strictly mattifying powder or one that will really control your oils. So if you have really oily skin, don't be fooled. I don't think this is the powder for you. And I've seen some people buy the darker shades to use as a bronzer, which is actually not the worst idea. Speaking of bronzer, I am going to be totally boring and grab my Milk bronzer in the shade Baked. I just really enjoy this bronzer, and I'm going to use that to bronze up my face a little bit. So I don't know if I'm going to be getting the highlighter right now. I think I might get it on an eventual restock in the end of the year or something, because I think I want to focus on the Glow Lust now and make up my mind by the time Auric does a restock of these, whether I want to get myself a backup. I might still want to get myself a backup, because I still think that Glow Lust is quite a unique formulation on the market, and everything else, as good as it might be, is just not quite the same thing, and I really enjoy Glow Lust because of that slight coverage that it has. For blush, I'm going to take my Wild Honey from Becca. I'm going for something a little bit more, you know, neutral-ish on the cheeks, since the eyes are going to be quite a heavy teal blue, and I really like this shade of blush on my skin tone. So aside from the liquid blushes and the highlighter, I do believe she's coming out with new shades of the lip gloss, because she mentioned that the shade Velvet Affair, which was one of her best-selling new lipstick shades with the previous release, so those will be back, as well as new shades of the lip glosses. For highlighter, I'm going to keep it really easy, and I'm going to take the shade Ozone from Nabla Cosmetics, which is one of my favorites as well. So I am going to probably, I think realistically, I'm probably just going to pick up one of the blushes, because I'm curious about the formula most of all, and not so much that I'm in dire need of blush. Are you guys picking up something? What are you planning on picking up? Are you going to be stalking the website, or are you like me and you think, well, if I manage to score something nice, if I don't, oh well, next time. I'm going to spritz my brush with a little bit of Fix Plus in order to marry all the powders that I put on my cheeks. I had this sort of attitude of like, I'm not going to stress out about makeup releases ever since the Divine Rose 2 release, which was so fucking incredibly stressful. I decided that life is stressful enough and I don't need to pay to be stressed, so I intend to, you know, just go about it casually. Okay, so let me show you the main star of this pet pairing video, which is going to be the Metalmorphosis palette from the 2018 Opulence collection. I'm very sorry for all of you guys who came into Pat McGrath a little bit later. I'm afraid that the shade that we're going to be using for the most part today is one that has never been re-promoted. It's this gorgeous, like, teal green over here, which is one of my favorite from Pets, which you can probably tell by the huge dent it has in it. I'm going to start with this shade. It's a really beautiful, like, caramel mid-tone brown, and it's one of my absolute favorite shades, like mattes from Pat McGrath. So I'm going to fluff it right here to my crease. In other news, in a deeply shocking turn of events, I received an invitation to get my COVID vaccine. If you are not based in the Netherlands, you're probably like, why is that deeply shocking? What's the surprise there? You know, it's been like half a year by now. Some states in the US have been like 60% of the population has been vaccinated. A lot of young people have been vaccinated. In other countries like the UK, most of the population has received, or maybe, yeah, most of the population that wanted to be vaccinated has been vaccinated at least once. Well, the reason I'm deeply shocked is because the Netherlands had decided, without really including the population, to participate in a competition together with the more, you know, challenged countries in the world, in who's going to vaccinate their population the slowest. There have been several issues. Some of them have not really been, you know, the fault of the Netherlands. It's been like a more widespread problem throughout the European Union, that we just didn't get enough vaccines. Like the suppliers who promised certain numbers of vaccines to be delivered to the EU didn't live up to their part of the bargain, AstraZeneca being a great example there. So that is one of the reasons that we are a bit behind, but honestly it's not the only reason. So I've decided to actually go now into the Decadence palette, and more specifically I'm going to go into this shade over here, the really deep blue, and I'm going to run that here on like my lash line and very much into the outer corner. So I don't really know what the fuck went wrong here, but for whatever reason we are really behind with vaccinating everyone. And no, my age group, I am 38, my age group is not even remotely anywhere near being vaccinated. I think they have just started vaccinated like the 60 plus people here, just barely, maybe not even. And the reason I got an invite is because together with like the more elderly population, they decided that they're going to include young people who have some sort of a pre-existing condition. And I didn't really think that I was going to get an invitation. I did know that they were going to send those out, but I didn't think I would be one of the people to get it, because my disease has been not active, knock on my wooden head, for quite some many years, and I really thought they would probably just invite people who have like active disease at the moment. And if you're wondering exactly what I have, I'm totally open about it, it's not a secret or anything. I have inflammatory bowel disease. In 2014 I had an inflammation in my sigmoid colon. They actually did like the whole sigmoidoscopy thing. They took samples from my sigmoid colon, they put them under a microscope, and they said, look, the disease is relatively low active, has relatively low activity, and we can't really tell whether you have Crohn's or ulcerative colitis because you seem to have markers for both. Yay me. However, what I found out consequently is that my flare-ups seem to be very much triggered by stress, and I haven't really allowed myself to be distressed over dumb shit since 2016 or 17 is the last time I had a flare-up and I had to have medication. So that's why I didn't really think that I would be included in the, you know, group of people who have an autoimmune or some sort of like pre-existing condition and are at higher risk. However, to my shock and dismay, apparently I'm still counted together with everybody else. So I'm being really careful with the blending out of this shade because it's quite a dark shade and I don't really want to put it everywhere. I just really want to concentrate it here into the outer corner of my eye and just like slowly feathering it inwards. I'm going to take my glitter glue as usual, apply a little bit of that onto my moving lid, and over top of that we're going to apply that gorgeous green teal shade from the Metalmorphosis palette. Now I'm going to use my finger and go into this gorgeous shade. I'm going to have to be honest to you and warn you, there is a decent amount of fallout with this shade, so I do recommend using it with a glitter glue, but it's just such a stunning shade. I absolutely love it. So I'm getting my first shot May 17th, which as of now is coming Monday, so in 5 days. Here they don't really do AstraZeneca at the moment for people under 60, especially young women, I think. So I'm going to be getting either one of the RNA vaccines. I'm going to get either the Pfizer or the Moderna vaccine. Personally, I don't really care which one I'm going to get. I'm also fine with the vector-based vaccines like Astra or Janssen, because while the delivery method differs and the RNA vaccines are by all means not superior, but they're just so much more elegant in the way that they deliver those spike proteins, I still really don't care as long as I am vaccinated and we can go back to normal life soon. That is the only thing I truly desire. Usually I would probably go in with at least one more layer because I really like this shade and I want it to be really punchy. But we are going to go into another shade in a second. Let me just quickly blend here around the edges so that it doesn't look crazy and harsh. I am going to now grab the Nocturnal Nirvana quad again, but this time we're going to go into the light blue shade. And this shade is very nice because it has a very sheer base to it, so you can use it on its own, but you can layer it over top of other shades as well. It's a very versatile shade. So I'm going to layer that over top of that. I think it looks really pretty. It's not like dramatically changing the tone of that teal underneath, but it's just adding a little bit more light and a little bit more blueness to it, and I really enjoy that. Looking at the palettes in front of me, there isn't really a shade that I want to put in my inner corners. Theoretically, I could put this sort of like champagne shade from the Metalmorphosis palette, and it's probably going to work, but I know that it's not as brightening as I want it to be, so I'm actually going to just pull out Ozone from Nabla again, and I'm going to apply that into my inner corners, as well as the tiniest bit on the arch of my brow bone. I already have an appointment for the second shot, which will be June 21st. So my parents are getting their second shot of the AstraZeneca vaccine in the beginning of June, and hopefully in July they can come finally visit. So by the time they come, I will also be fully vaccinated, only my poor husband will not be. So I'm going to go back now into the Nocturnal Nirvana quad, take my little brush here and the tiniest amount of that blue, and I'm going to apply that here more towards the inner part of the eyelid to connect with Ozone. And let's go super crazy. On my lower lash line, I'm going to take my little brush here and I'm going to go into the really deep purple shade and apply that very lightly here on my lower lash line. So we're going to have a little bit of like a green purple situation, and if you guys don't know that, green and purple, the combination of the two colors is like one of my favorite things ever. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to take this Kiko eyeshadow stick. It is in the number 16, which is a beautiful deep purple, and apply that here in my waterline. So guys, here is a close-up of the look in broad daylight. And here is what happens when you shine an artificial source of light. It's a real glitter party. I paired the look with like a super simple lip color because I think there's already so much going on the eyes. The color I chose is a peachy nude. This is the shade Wellis and Tweed from H&M. One of my favorite nude lipsticks ever, because I think it just looks really flattering on me, and it's not one of those lipsticks that leaves like a disgusting white crust in the inner rim of your lips. So that is the completed look. Let me know what you thought about it. I'm running a little bit late, so I'm just going to bid you adieu, and I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye!